I need to tell you something that has kept me awake for 72 consecutive hours. Before we begin, I need you to do something for me. Comment your city name below and tell me honestly, have you noticed anything unusual in the night sky lately? Anything at all? NASA has opened an unofficial civilian observation network, and they need to know where these phenomena are being seen. What I'm about to share with you may fundamentally change the way you see humanity's place in the universe. And for over 4 decades, I have stood at the intersection of theoretical physics and cosmic reality. I have spent my life translating the language of the universe into something the human mind can comprehend. I have discussed parallel dimensions, string theory, the fabric of space-time itself, but nothing, and I mean nothing, in my entire career has prepared me for what 3I Atlas has just done. 3 nights ago, at exactly 0347 UTC, every major observatory on Earth received the same data stream simultaneously. Not a signal, not a transmission, a sequence. And it came from 3I Atlas, the interstellar object that entered our solar system traveling at speeds that should not be possible for a natural body. The object, we were told, was just another comet, another cosmic wanderer passing through our neighborhood on its way to oblivion. We were told wrong. That's when the Atlas Survey Telescope in Hawaii first detected this object. At the time, it seemed unremarkable. Another icy visitor from the depths of interstellar space. We've seen them before, Oumuamua, Borisov. These interstellar travelers have become almost routine in modern astronomy. We catalog them, we study their trajectories, we watch them leave. But 3I Atlas was different from the moment we began collecting data. Its velocity was the first anomaly. This object was moving at approximately 93,000 miles per hour relative to the Sun. That's fast, extraordinarily fast, but still within the realm of possibility for an object ejected from another star system. What concerned us was the precision of its trajectory. Natural objects don't move with precision. They tumble, they wobble. They're influenced by gravitational perturbations, outgassing, the solar wind. 3I Atlas moved like it was on rails, like it knew exactly where it was going. I remember the first meeting where someone dared to say it out loud. It was a video conference. Dozens of astronomers, NASA officials, representatives from the European Space Agency, even observers from the Chinese National Space Administration. Everyone was there because everyone had seen the same data. And in that meeting, Dr. Sarah Chen from the Jet Propulsion Laboratory said the words we were all thinking, what if it's not passing through? What if it's positioning itself? The silence that followed was suffocating. For the next 3 years, we watched. We tracked 3I Atlas as it made its approach to the inner solar system, swung around the sun in, and then continued outbound. Its trajectory took it past Mars, past the asteroid belt, toward the outer planets. By all conventional models, it should have been slowing down, its path degrading as the sun's gravity pulled at it. But it didn't slow. If anything, its velocity stabilized in a way that defied every model we ran. Then, 18 months ago, it stopped accelerating away from the sun and began what we can only describe as station keeping. It positioned itself approximately 847 million miles from Earth, roughly between the orbits of Jupiter and Saturn, and it has maintained that exact position with a precision of less than 3 miles variance. For an object supposedly composed of ice and rock, supposedly at the mercy of gravitational forces and solar radiation, this is impossible. I want you to understand what I mean by impossible. In physics, we don't use that word lightly. Improbable? Yes. Unexpected? Certainly. But impossible means it violates the known laws of nature. And 3I Atlas has been violating those laws for over 500 days. NASA tried to keep this quiet. So did every other space agency. The official narrative was that 3I Atlas had settled into a stable orbit influenced by Jupiter's massive gravitational field. A perfectly reasonable explanation that would satisfy the public and the press. But those of us with access to the raw data knew better. Jupiter's gravity well doesn't create that kind of precision. Nothing natural does. Then came the sequence. 3 nights ago, 3I Atlas began emitting. Not radio waves, not heat, not any form of electromagnetic radiation we were expecting. It began modulating the quantum vacuum around itself, creating ripples in what we call zero-point energy fields. This is theoretical physics made manifest. This is technology we don't have, technology we haven't even successfully theorized. The modulation followed a mathematical pattern so elegant, so precise, that it could only be intentional. It was a countdown sequence written in the language of quantum mechanics. And when our computers finished translating the pattern, we realized we were looking at a timeline, a schedule. Something was about to happen, and 3i Atlas was announcing it to anyone with the capability to listen. The countdown reached 0:48 hours ago. What happened next will be denied by every official source. It will be scrubbed from public record. But I'm telling you now because you deserve to know. You deserve to understand that we are living through a moment of cosmic significance that rivals anything in human history. When the countdown reached 0, 3i Atlas expanded. Not physically, its dimensions remained constant according to our telescopic observations. It expanded dimensionally. It created what theoretical physicists have long speculated about but never observed, a localized distortion in space-time itself. Around this interstellar object, space began to behave differently. Light from background stars shifted in ways that suggested the fabric of reality was being folded, compressed, manipulated, and then through that distortion, something responded. We detected 7 distinct gravitational wave pulses originating from 7 different locations in our galaxy, not near 3i Atlas, not near Earth. These pulses came from points spread across thousands of light years, from regions we had identified decades ago as potentially harboring advanced civilizations based on anomalous infrared signatures and unexplained megastructure candidates. We had been looking at these locations for years, wondering if they represented alien technology. Now we had our answer. They had all responded to 3i Atlas simultaneously, instantaneously, as if distance meant nothing to them. I need you to grasp the implications of what I just said. Communication that ignores the speed of light is communication that operates outside our understanding of causality itself. Einstein told us nothing can travel faster than light. He told us that simultaneity across vast distances is an illusion. But 3i Atlas and whatever responded to it have just demonstrated that there are methods of connection that bypass these limitations entirely. We are not dealing with a civilization slightly more advanced than us. We are dealing with intelligence that has mastered the fundamental architecture of the universe itself. The gravitational wave pulses contained information, not language, at least not language as we understand it, but patterns, mathematical structures, sequences that when analyzed revealed something that has shaken me to my core. They revealed a map of our galaxy with certain regions highlighted, marked, designated. And at the center of one of those designated zones is Earth. I've spent the last 48 hours in meetings that don't officially exist with people whose clearance levels I cannot mention, discussing scenarios that sound like science fiction. But this is not fiction. This is data. This is observation. This is reality asserting itself in ways we never anticipated. The prevailing theory, and please understand this is still being debated, still being analyzed, is that 3i Atlas is not a probe. It's a beacon, a marker, and what it has done is announce to a galactic network that Earth has reached a particular threshold. We don't know what that threshold is. Technological, biological, consciousness-based, we're mapping every possibility. But there's something else. Something in the data that terrifies me more than anything I've encountered in my scientific career. Embedded within those gravitational wave patterns was a structure that our quantum computers identified as a containment protocol. Not a greeting, not an invitation, a quarantine designation. Earth has been marked as a contained system, and 3i Atlas is the mechanism enforcing that containment. I want to take you through the mathematics of what we discovered, but I need to translate it into something comprehensible. Imagine you're a cell in a body. For your entire existence, you believe you're independent, autonomous, free. You divide, you consume resources, you interact with neighboring cells, then one day you detect something, a signal from the immune system, and you realize that the body has always known you were there. has always been monitoring you. And now, because you've begun behaving in a way the body considers potentially dangerous, it has activated a response. That's where humanity finds itself right now. The sequence 3I Atlas initiated is ongoing. Every 12 hours, it pulses. Every 12 hours, the quantum vacuum around it oscillates in that same mathematical pattern. And every 12 hours, we detect response echoes from those 7 galactic locations. They're coordinating, they're maintaining something. A field, a boundary, a cage made of space-time itself that we can only barely detect, even with our most sophisticated instruments. We tried to send a probe. 4 days ago, NASA redirected a deep space satellite toward 3I Atlas. It was a long shot. The satellite wasn't designed for this mission, but it had enough fuel for a trajectory correction. We needed to get closer, needed to analyze this object directly. The satellite was named Pioneer 13, though that designation isn't public. It was launched 7 years ago for asteroid surveys, and we repurposed it the moment we understood what we were dealing with. Pioneer 13 stopped transmitting 97 minutes after crossing a threshold approximately 50 million miles from 3I Atlas. Not mechanical failure, not communication loss due to distance or interference. It simply stopped existing from our perspective. One moment we had telemetry, the next moment nothing, not even debris. It was as if the satellite had been edited out of reality. Whatever boundary 3I Atlas is maintaining doesn't want us to approach it. This brings me to the question that has consumed every conversation I've had in the last 72 hours. Why now? Humanity has existed for roughly 300,000 years. Modern civilization for perhaps 10,000. We've had radio technology for just over a century. What threshold did we cross that activated this response? Some of my colleagues believe it's artificial intelligence. The exponential development of AI systems in the last decade represents a form of intelligence explosion that natural evolution rarely produces. Perhaps the galaxy monitors for this specific developmental trajectory because AI represents a particular kind of risk. A risk of uncontrolled replication, expansion, consumption. A cancer that needs to be contained before it metastasizes. Others think it's nuclear technology. The moment we split the atom, we announced our presence in a way that can't be hidden. Nuclear detonations create distinctive signatures that propagate through subspace in ways we're only beginning to understand. Perhaps that was the signal that placed us on their radar. Perhaps 3I Atlas was dispatched the moment we detonated Trinity in 1945, and it has taken 78 years to arrive and position itself. But I have a different theory, a theory that fits the data in ways that terrify me. I believe what activated the containment protocol was consciousness itself. Bear with me. This sounds metaphysical, mystical even, but stay with the physics. Quantum mechanics tells us that observation affects reality. The double-slit experiment demonstrated that particles behave differently when observed versus when they're not. This isn't mysticism. It's measurable, repeatable physics. Consciousness has a relationship with the quantum substrate of reality that we still don't fully understand. Now scale that up. 8 billion human consciousnesses, all observing, all collapsing quantum wave functions, all participating in the measurement problem on a planetary scale. What if consciousness itself generates a signature in the quantum foam? What if awareness creates detectable patterns in the zero-point field? What if, as we've developed language, mathematics, science, philosophy, as we've become more conscious, not just individually, but collectively, we've been broadcasting our presence to anything capable of detecting consciousness itself? The data from 3I Atlas suggests it's scanning for something we can only describe as coherence, organized information. The universe trends toward entropy, toward chaos and dissolution, but life runs opposite to that trend. Life creates order, and consciousness creates meaning. We are islands of negentropy in an ocean of decay, and perhaps that makes us visible. Perhaps that makes us something that needs to be monitored or contained. I've been thinking about the Fermi paradox. If the universe is so vast, if there are billions of potentially habitable planets in our galaxy alone, where is everyone? Why haven't we detected any signs of alien civilizations despite decades of searching? We've assumed the answer was distance or timing or the self-destructive nature of technological species. But what if the answer is much simpler and far more disturbing? What if they're all being contained? What if the galaxy is not empty but carefully managed? What if emerging civilizations are identified, monitored, and when they reach certain developmental thresholds, they're quietly quarantined in their own systems, not destroyed, not contacted, just isolated, left to develop within their boundaries, never allowed to expand beyond them? It would explain everything: the silence, the absence, the fact that despite our best efforts, we've never detected a single confirmed artificial signal from the cosmos. Not because there's no one out there, but because everyone out there is in their own designated zone, their own marked territory, monitored by their own version of 3i Atlas. We are not alone in the universe. We are alone in our cage. This morning, I received a classified briefing about global phenomena that have been occurring with increasing frequency over the last 6 months. UFO sightings, or UAP as they're officially designated now, have increased by over 3,000%. Not reported sightings by casual observers, but documented encounters by military personnel, commercial pilots, air traffic controllers. Objects demonstrating flight characteristics that violate our understanding of physics. Objects that appear and disappear instantaneously, objects that seem to be surveying, observing, cataloging. The briefing suggested these objects are connected to 3i Atlas, that the sequence it initiated has activated something that was already here, already embedded in our system, a dormant network of surveillance technology that has been watching us for far longer than we've been watching the stars. I think about the ancient astronaut theories, the megalithic structures we can't explain, the technological leaps in human history that seem to appear suddenly without clear developmental pathways, the myths and legends across every human culture about visitors from the sky, about gods who came from the stars and taught us and then left. What if those weren't myths? What if those were memories? What if humanity has been monitored, perhaps even guided, for our entire existence? And what if 3i Atlas represents a change in that relationship? There's a document, I cannot tell you how I accessed it, but it exists. A document prepared by a joint task force of scientists and military strategists outlining response scenarios. The document is titled Post-Containment Human Strategy, and it explores what humanity's options are if we confirm that we are, in fact, quarantined. The options are limited. We can attempt to break the containment, launch a concentrated effort to develop technology that could overcome whatever barrier 3i Atlas is maintaining. But this assumes we could develop such technology within our contained system, using only the resources and knowledge available to us. It assumes the containment wasn't designed to prevent exactly this kind of development, and it risks provoking a response we're not prepared for. We can attempt communication, try to negotiate, to understand the terms of our containment, to demonstrate that we're not a threat. But communication requires understanding their language, their logic, their ethics. We're trying to negotiate with something so far beyond us that we might be as incomprehensible to them as bacteria are to us. And you don't negotiate with bacteria. You either cultivate it or you sterilize it. Or we can accept it, acknowledge that we exist within boundaries we didn't create and can't overcome, focus inward rather than outward, build our civilization within the confines of our solar system, perhaps even just our planet, and make peace with the fact that the cosmos is not ours to explore, that we are, and perhaps always will be, a contained species. Each option has been modeled. Each option has probabilities attached to it, and none of them are encouraging. But here's what keeps me awake at night. Here's what makes my hands shake when I look at the data. The containment might not be permanent. The sequence 3i Atlas initiated appears to be a test. The gravitational wave pulses contain within them a structure that resembles a checklist, a series of conditions that, if met, would alter the status of the containment. We're being evaluated, measured against standards we don't understand by intelligences we can't comprehend, and we don't know if we're passing or failing. I think about our species, about everything we've accomplished and everything we've destroyed. We've created art and music and mathematics. We've decoded the genome. We've split the atom and reached the moon. We've developed consciousness to the point where we can contemplate our own existence, question our place in the cosmos, seek meaning in the void. But we've also waged endless wars. We've polluted our own atmosphere. We've driven thousands of species to extinction. We've built weapons capable of sterilizing our entire planet, and we've come within minutes of using them. Are we being contained because we're dangerous? Or are we being contained until we prove we're ready? I wish I had answers. I wish I could tell you that NASA has a plan, that the world's governments are coordinating a response, that humanity is united in facing this cosmic reality. But the truth is, we're fractured, confused, terrified. The people who know about this, and there are fewer than 300 people globally with full access to the data, are paralyzed by the implications. Do we tell the public? Do we reveal that everything we believed about our place in the universe is wrong? That we're not explorers on the verge of becoming a spacefaring civilization, but specimens in a quarantine zone? The psychological, social, religious, and political implications are incalculable. It could trigger global panic, or it could unite us in ways nothing else ever has. The decision hasn't been made yet, but I'm making my decision now. I'm telling you because I believe you have the right to know. I believe that humanity deserves the truth, no matter how disturbing that truth might be. 3i Atlas is out there right now, maintaining its position, pulsing its sequence, enforcing boundaries we can barely detect. And we're in here, going about our daily lives, unaware that the universe has been watching us all along, unaware that we're living inside a cosmic experiment whose parameters we don't understand and whose outcome has yet to be determined. I don't know what happens next. The data is incomplete. The models are provisional. We're operating at the absolute edge of human knowledge, staring into an abyss that's staring back. But I know this: we are not at the center of creation. We are not the pinnacle of cosmic evolution. We are one data point among countless others in a galaxy that has been organizing itself according to principles we're only beginning to glimpse. What I'm asking you to do now is what scientists have always asked. Look at the evidence. Think critically. Question everything, including what I've told you. Check the night sky. Document what you see. Share your observations. We need every perspective, every data point, every witness, because whatever is happening, it's happening to all of us. Follow this channel as we continue to decode what may be the universe's final warning, or its first test. I'll be sharing updates as information becomes available, information that won't appear anywhere else, information that exists in the margins between official denial and cosmic truth. I want you to think about something tonight before you sleep. Think about every time you've looked up at the stars and felt small, felt that particular mixture of awe and loneliness that comes from contemplating the vastness of space. That feeling was appropriate. We were small, we were alone, but we were also free. What does it mean to look at those same stars and realize they've been looking back? That our loneliness was an illusion, but our freedom might have been too? What does it mean to be conscious in a universe that constrains consciousness itself?